Okay, hello and welcome again to a TI84 video tutorial for coding for your TI84 calculator, specifically for the upcoming SAT exam. Here we're going to model a linear regression, and I am using this example from SAT class. It will have the x-axis as Algebra 2 midterm grades, and we'll check the correlation and a best of line fit between Algebra 2 and chemistry grades. According to this example, it's a pretty good best of line fit that the score that you get in Algebra 2 has a 1-to-1 correlation with chemistry. In other words, they're saying the correct answer is C, y equals x, should be the best of line fit, more or less, if you look at the shapes, slopes, and y-intercepts of the possible best of line fits. So next, we'll go to the TI84 calculator here and enter the data and perform a best of line fit and compare it to the line y equals 1x. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll create this graph for the TI84 Smart View CE for your TI84 Plus calculator. And here we have the data points entered for algebra grades along the x-axis versus chemistry grades in the y-axis, scores from 0 to 100. And according to the textbook, it should be very close to the line y equals x. And you can see that it is here, but when you project backwards, the predicted value is a little bit below because of the best of line fit here for the least sum of squares. So first thing we'll do is we'll enter these blue data points by hitting stat, enter. And you'll see here in column Y1, those are the Algebra 2 grades for 8 tracked students. And these are the corresponding chemistry grades of performance for these 8 students. So please pause the video if you need to enter these data points now for these 8 data entries. Okay, if you're continuing now, you've entered the 8 data points. And what we'll do is we'll hit graph to make sure that the data points are plotted. If your plotter is not on, hit second y equals for stat plot. Hit enter for set 1, and you want to make sure that it's turned on. Those are the cloud of data points. That's the way we want it. List 1 is Algebra 2. List 2 is chemistry. And just so that we know that this works, I'll change it to light blue. Enter. Then when we hit graph, notice the graph changed the dots to light blue. And they're little squares. But next, what we'll do is we'll find that red best of line fit that best fits this data so that about half the points are above and half are below, but also that the sum of squares of the variation between the real data and the predicted value is minimalized. So here we go. So the way we do that is you click stat and right arrow, and then we're going to choose 4 for a linear regression of the form y equals ax plus b. Okay, the first data point are algebra 2, the second are chemistry, and we want to store that equation. So hit bars, y bars, enter, enter, and go down to calculate. Now it will store the equation, the regression equation, into the line y1. So when you hit enter, it'll say, well, the best line fit is for a linear equation is y equals 1.022x minus 1.573 with a correlation of 0.924 for r squared with an r of 0.961. So that's fairly high, 1 being a perfect match between the data points in the line. If we go to the graph, we can see that the graph is very good and looks like a slope of 1 on a typical, in this rectangular window. So the way I did that was it's not square. So I project the x values instead of from 1 to 100 for a test. If you look in the window settings here, I start at -2 and go up to 120 because it's a wide window. And then for y, however, I go from -2 up to 100, the maximum score being 100. Okay, for these 8 students, no one achieved the max score, but they're being tracked to see how they do in both of these classes. And as you can see, this creates a very good picture. again, you can see down here, the scaling, it has marked every 10 exam points. But you can see here that it makes it look more like a line with slope of 1, right? It's not scaled, it's not sheared in a way that it's a lower or higher. Okay, certainly 1.02 also is very, very close to 1.0 correlation between. That means that you perform the same score on an Algebra 2 exam as on a chemistry exam. For these 8 students, there seems to be a strong correlation between those 2 subject areas in this community here. So there you have it. That's how you enter your data points for a linear regression. And I hope this video was useful to you in your preparation for your upcoming SAT exam. Thank you for watching my video.